The Lunaverse by Double Dash Return to Tambleon. Soul Hunter. In the night sky over Tambleon, Luna's eyes shot open as she sensed a black presence she had not felt for 1,000 years, not since Tirek. She breathed, looking down. Until this moment, she had supposed herself to be making excellent progress against the shield that blockaded Tambleon. With aid from the cannons of Wing Song, she estimated it would only be a few hours of work ahead of her to bring it down. Far longer than she would personally like, but objectively, she knew she was doing quite well. But now, T-Rex had been summoned. That changed. Well, depending on what Grogar wanted for T-Rex. That fairy mail would have been changed everything. T-Rex could not be allowed to get loose from his prison. No matter the state he was now in, Luna had little doubt that, given free rein, he could recover his full power worryingly quickly. Luna closed her eyes and teleported, appearing in a shimmering, midnight-hued flash on the deck of Wing Song. The crew were all dead tired. In addition to unloading virtually their entire supply of cannonballs into shield per Luna's instructions, keeping an eye open for a grudge holding an ancient worm that, while probably couldn't kill Luna, was certainly capable of bringing down a ship, even one as advanced as Wing Song. Nevertheless, Luna's arrival was noticed, called out, and acknowledged from a bow from any who weren't engaged in pressing tasks. Luna returned the acknowledgement with curt nods, but made her way across the deck into the captain of the ship. "Your Majesty," the captain said as he rose from his own bow. "What happened?" It didn't take much to read Luna's expression, which the situation had changed. "Captain, you need to get out of the way, now," Luna said. "Set course for Laria at your best speed." Captain Blunt, "Your Majesty, we still have some shots left in our cannons. We can't just abandon the elements left." Luna couldn't hide her grimace as she shook her head, even as her horn glowed. From elsewhere on the ship, she heard a few of the crew members call out in surprise. Overhead, the stars were rearranging themselves in the night sky, one in particular seeming to flare up and triple in luminosity. "Captain, I do not have time to fully explain everything. Suffice to say, your contribution, while meaningful, is over. I can take the shield down myself, but there's a strong possibility I may now need the shield to remain up." The captain scowled in confusion. "What? Why?" Luna looked back to Tambleon, glanced up to the stars she had selected in the night sky. She raised several more. "Because the worst happens, then it'll contain the entity that had just been summoned onto the island, long enough for me to destroy it." The captain's eyes widened. "The entity?" "Yes." If that had been an option, Luna would have taken it 1,000 years ago. She shook her head again. "The island." Celestia was a little more than confused. T-Rex was struggling against the chains that held him down. With great effort, he managed to free one arm, ripping the chain loose from the ground. The chain, which Celestia knew had been forged from orichalcum, and it fires as hot as the sun, seeing as she had in fact been wanting to acquire orichalcum and forge the chain. Seemed almost a living thing, wriggling and twisting about, still pulling his arm, trying to implant itself in the ground once more. T-Rex managed to keep his arm free, however. It took a moment to collect himself. He pointed one finger at Grogar. "I am the Lord of the Midnight Castle, the shadow and the soul, the tire in the pit, the liar and the thief, the bringer of the night that never ends. And I demand you to send me back to the Tartarus necromancer." The man was part of what confused Kid Celestia. That and the state T-Rex was in. The haggard, emancipated look of what had once been possibly the most evil being in all the world. Being whose sheer malice, if not power, may very well surpass that of Discord himself. Ever had he been dire threat to the Pauline's and Alakir's sisters both? Even when trapped as Tartarus, the immortal demon had always seemed to find some way to spread his malevolence. Yet, his thoughts when trapped in his native realm were always about escape. Celestia had never heard T-Rex demand to be sent back to Tartarus before. Celestia eyed the focus for the element of magic. Without it, in her current state, neither she nor her erstwhile ally stood a chance against Grogar, let alone T-Rex, who had always been Celestia's equal in power. She tried to edge closer, out of Grogar's sight, horn glowing very lightly as he tentatively reached out with her telekinesis. Grogar noticed, however, and snored, picking up the element in his own telekinesis and repositioning himself, stepping closer to the calling circle where T-Rex was trapped. "Will you break his circle, Celestia?" he asked. "You cannot even face me. How would you fare against T-Rex, once more free upon the world?" Celestia grimaced. There's no small chance that attacking Grogar now, even if only the first to try and get the element, would break the circle. T-Rex would be free, and there was a good chance that the demon was training some kind of trick. There was a small advance as well, at least. Powerful as Grogar may have been, he couldn't slay 6 ponies, 1 zebra, and certainly not 1 alicorn instantly. If he got into a fight with Celestia or allies, there was a good chance he might break the calling circle. Grogar would not want that any more than Celestia. As free T-Rex would have no reason to follow or aid Grogar. She stopped her advance, and looked up to T-Rex, eyes narrowing. "You've seen better days," she hissed. T-Rex lost his struggle with the living chain, as it lunged down to the ground and bound him once more. He struggled against it as he leaned forward to the edge of the calling circle, glaring at Celestia with bile and hate that could have blasted the crust from the earth had it been given physical form. "You should know, Daystar," T-Rex roared, "for it was used against you. Luna took my power, tore at my very soul." "You have no soul," Celestia countered. "I had thousands." Some of T-Rex's former self returned to him as he stood fully, tearing the chains that bound his arms and horns loose. Celestia backed away, honestly not certain T-Rex was about to break free. But the demon only staggered forward, slamming a fist against the invisible barrier that its calling circle had created. It probably would have been more intimidating had it not exhausted him so. "The souls of thou creatures of the world, so many of them your precious ponies, freely given for their own small gain." He stopped his hooves as he struggled against the chains, grabbing at them to try to keep standing. "Thousands, tens of thousands, all mine, and your sister stole them." Grogar's blank red eyes grew wide at that as he glanced at T-Rex. What? T-Rex lost his struggles against the chains again, straight back to where he had been previously, and the chains landed to the ground and held him firm. He stopped struggling. The look of pure hate passed from his face, replaced by one of exhaustion as the demon gasped for breath. "Luna stole them, took them from me. My property, my power, my souls. Took them and used them to fuel our battle with you, Celestia." T-Rex looked up at Celestia once more. "I saw, even after what Luna had done. I saw it all. It was beautiful." Celestia whickered and sought a hoof at T-Rex's definition of beauty. Wherever else her battle with Luna had been, it had broken Celestia's heart to see her little sister corrupted and debased by the black magic of T-Rex. Her only sense of duty had been it kept the pain from overwhelming her. He had not been beautiful. "But then, the elements," T-Rex said, lips curling. "I had so few souls remaining, so little strength. I could not recall what was taken from me. And when the elements struck the nightmare that Luna had become to battle, they were lost. Lost forever. Wasted. All of them. Save a blasted piece of her own soul that used what little of my power she had to become love." T-Rex spat the last word like it was a vile curse. One of Celestia's eyes narrowed a moment before she realized what T-Rex was saying, rocking it backwards on her hooves, wings flaring in surprise. "My niece," she exclaimed. "She was born from you?" "If only," T-Rex mourned. "I could have been free by now if I had such an ally on Earth. No alicorn. I provided nothing for the alicorn of love, save a template that her incessant soul was forced by the elements of harmony to be as unlike as possible. As discord is to the elements, so am I to condenser." Grogar growled low as Celestia processed the information, trying to decide how she felt about it. Perhaps stood even closer to the calling circle, but did not take his eyes off of Celestia for more than a few seconds as he did. "What of my soul, T-Rex?" he asked. "What of our bargain?" T-Rex tore his eyes from Celestia, looking down at Grogar. "Like forcible ducking to the city of Tambleon, and of 100 ponies," T-Rex said. "I required 100 ponies, not 99. I cannot be held to the fault for your own ability to count." Grogar shook his head. "One had died the very morning of my spell. I had no way to account for that. It does not matter. I bring you 6 ponies, a zebra, and an alicorn. The end of my bargain is now more than fulfilled. Give me my soul back. Or was it amongst those that were seized by Luna?" Celestia glanced between the two, eyes narrowing. So, Groker had sold his soul to T-Rex, though what for remained a mystery. It at least said much about the demon ram. Without a soul, Grogar's emotions were largely deadened, explaining how he could be so calm when talking about the possibility of his very soul having been lost. His unusual size and build for a ram as well would come from infusing himself via necromantic rituals to keep himself alive without a soul. Even with those rituals, however, Grogar would have had a much more short lifespan without a soul. Strange for a being that, in the imprinted memories kept disturbing the Isle of Tambleon were any indication, was making every effort to achieve immortality. Unless... Celestia let out a decisive laugh as she realized. Grogar and T-Rex looked at her as he grinned humorously. I understand now, she said. Grogar, thousands of years ago you summoned T-Rex from the Tartarus. You demanded the secret of power and immortality from him, and he offered it in exchange for your soul. But one transaction has any worth to him, since one's own soul can only be given, never taken. You agreed, and he told you how to become one of the living dead, didn't he? She leaned forward. But not just any undead creature, a lich. Because of all the undead, it is the most powerful. Of all the undead, one would need to become a lich. Needs to thing you no longer had. But sir, T-Rex said, smirking maliciously himself. For the first time you have been called up for Tartarus. First time in centuries. Grogar asked to be told the secret of unending life and unlimited power. I granted his wish. You mislead me, Grogar observed, eyes narrowing. His emotions were only suppressed. After all, not absolutely entirely. He looked at Celestia. Though I should have expected no less from the liar and the thief. It did not matter. My necromancy was powerful enough to keep me alive. All I needed was to make a new transaction. Establish the price of return for my soul. Grogar looked again to T-Rex. Now, T-Rex, do you still have it? T-Rex's grin dropped. I will not bargain with you, he said in no uncertain terms. The souls of my possession are mine, and mine alone. I will not sever the few I have left. But my soul is among them. T-Rex was silent. Grogar nodded, turning from the calling circle in the Horde's light as he faced Celestia and her allies, leaving the element of magic behind, just outside the calling circle. I suppose I will just have to find out, he decided. Corona glanced at the pony, spreading her wings wide. As Grogar approached, horns glowing bone white. Stay behind me. Forget that, Moira said, stepping forward and unslinging her lyre from her back, holding it before her telekinetically. I owe this guy some payback. Crow's eyes wide. You stupid fool! Grogar's beyond any of you! You're not doing too good yourself, remember? Trixie asked as she stepped up alongside Lyra, horn glowing azure with the glow flecks dancing amongst it. Maybe all of us together can at least put up a fight. Yeah, Grom began, but Grogar's horn flashed dead as he said erratico, and a jet-black stream of magic glanced from the air in front of him towards Lyra. She whinnied in fright, throwing up a shield of golden magic in front of her that was quickly reinforced by both Trixie and Corona. The lance of magic collided with the shield and Sarian, sending it down and paying down the three's horns, but it didn't reach Lyra. Corona whickered in annoyance. Fine! Aid me if you can, unicorns! She summoned up a golden orb and launched it at Grogar. He caught it contemptuously in his telekinesis. It seemed surprised when the orb detonated in a flash of light and heat. He threw up a shield of his own, protecting himself, but brought Corona a few moments to look at the other four ponies. This will be a spell battle. If we three can batter our way past Grogar's defenses, then you must act to keep Grogar off balance. How? Catatop asked irrelevantly. But he'll alive, yes? Raindrops answered, stretching her wings a little. Grogar inhaled deeply, then an exhale, saying Nebula Ferio as he did. A black miasma appeared in front of him, rushed forward. Trixie reacted first, putting her apparent new fire powers to use by launching a series of fireworks into the cloud. The fireworks, partially real fireworks, thanks to Corona's magic lingering within Trixie's zone, ignited parts of the cloud. Corona added her own fire magic a moment later. The entire cloud burned away before it could reach them. Grogar grunted in annoyance. Clara's hose glided across their instrument. A staccato series of notes manifested as sharp points of magic surged towards the ram. Grogar grunted and stopped him with a shield, and stepped forward and stomped a hoof to the ground. Magic from its horns traveled down its hooves and onto the floor. Stone began to buckle and break as black tendrils burst out of the ground and reached for their ponies. Lyra and Trixie scattered, running away to tendrils, but Corona held her ground. She sent out a solid play of magic at her hooves and lanced through the tendrils, slicing them from their roots and causing them to collapse into black dust. The bases of the tendrils still writhed, however. In a few moments the tendrils began to grow again as Grogar channeled more magic into them. Trixie stopped running for a moment, setting her horn glowing and risking one of her most familiar spells. Thankfully, the fire magic that seemed to integrate itself didn't manifest as her eyes took on a blue glow. She glanced first to Corona, who was trying to strike at Grogar beyond her tendrils. They served as a shield as much as a weapon, blocking a curling burst of fire. The Acorn could, however, see Corona's magical aura. It was white and gold, a blazing fire that would almost hurt to look at. If Corona had been at full strength, Trixie knew she would have been blinded by seeing the Alicorn work magic. Then again, had Corona been at full strength, he wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. Trixie looked at Grogar next. The glow of his horns may have been blown white, but looking at Grogar casting spells, she saw that the true color of his aura was a malignant Ebon hue, more of a miasma than an aura that oozed forth from his being whenever he cast a spell. Her eyes narrowed a little as he tried to see past the blackness. Look at how he was manipulating magic. Grogar was not idle when she was studying him, however. Glancing at her, the necromancer raised the leg to his mouth and bit down with his fangs. Trixie started to let out a yelp of surprise when he spat out a few drips of blood that seemed to grow to enormous proportions, washing towards her in a scarlet tide. Let down away, and the tide surged past her, splashed against the wall. She heard the stone sizzle and boil where it struck. Lyra, as Grogar looked into Trixie, stopping her own dash away from the tendrils. Then on the other side of Grogar from Trixie, stopping a short rip as she channeled her own golden magic through her lyre. It was keen to life as a lance of pure sound when she took it to one hoof and threw it at Grogar. Not looking at her, however, Grogar caught the lance in his own magic. Lyra smiled, however, drawing her hoof across every string of her lyre. The sonic lance detonated in a burst that was felt and more than heard. Trixie winced at the sound, and glancing away, Grogar should have been rendered all but deaf. He wasn't. A thin field of magic encased his body as Trixie looked back. The sonic bomb hadn't even reached him. Grogar looked at Lyra and extended one hoof, muttering Nullis Fatolis as he did. Lyra ducked and rolled away from the wave of black magic that came at her, and then swiftly had to get her hose again as Grogar's eyes narrowed. The black tendrils redoubled their efforts at growth, surging up and launching themselves at Corona, Lyra, and Trixie. The effort was that what Trixie needed, however. Focusing power into her horns, she pulled and shaped her magic, cast it out of the tendrils closing in on her. Overlaying Grogar's own spell was a precise replica as she could manage under the circumstances, mixing it in with Grogar's own. Trixie couldn't duplicate Grogar's spells, as she didn't have the power, but she could make magic a part of them, pull them as hard as she could, like a sewn-in thread being yanked from a piece of clothing. Her pulling her magic away from the spell dragged a good portion of her original spell with it. Like with a cape, however, the tendrils were rendered unstable by the missing magic. The spell collapsed. By the time the tendrils had reached her, he turned to nothing more than black dust. Grogar seemed somewhat less concerned than Trixie would have liked at that. Crow, meanwhile, tried to seize an immediate advance, charging forward with a glowing horn at Grogar. Duran turned to meet her charge without concern. Once more, creating a miasma of death that swept towards the Alicorn. Rather than burn it away, however, Corona's horn flashed. She disappeared in a burst of golden light, reappearing behind Grogar. Grogar's own horns flashed as well, however, before Corona could strike at him. A black shield rose around him. Alicorn gasped her teeth and back several steps as the black shield suddenly grew spikes that obscured her as he had stayed in place. Ram held up a hoof, the ones he had bitten earlier. He muttered something under his breath as a few more drops of blood dripped from his self-inflicted wound. He fell to the ground beneath him, and split apart and expanded into a red mist that burned everything before it. He sent it swirling after Corona. The mist swirled around her first, pointing itself firmly between the Alcorn and element of magic, or surging after her, driving her away from the element and not dissipating until she was well away from it. He turned to Lyra as the mint unicorn ready another spell. This one, a long-held note, sent a twisting line of magic straight towards the demon ram, arcing through the air like a crack in shattering glass. Struck another shield of Grelgar's, however. Grelgar lost the field of his own magic at Lyra. This one struck home, the first spell to do so, sending Lyra tumbling away. She tried to stand, but her right side seemed to have frozen up, locking in place so she wouldn't have to move either right leg, or even her face seemed to have frozen. Her one good eye went wide, and Trixie cried out. Grelgar readied another spell to finish off the unicorn, and paused a moment, instead conjured a shield over his head. There a moment later, a torch landed on the shield and rolled off. Glancing, Grelgar saw Ditzy and Zecora. The former had grabbed torches from the sconces and brought them over to Zecora, threw another one. Grelgar stopped it with ease, and Trixie wondered what the two were trying to do. They came to realize that neither Tearly nor Raindrops were with them. In fact, he only realized when Raindrops came at Grelgar from the side, Lane speeding furiously to get as much speed behind her as he could. Grelgar snoring arisen, horns glowing and firing a blood of black magic. Somehow, Grelgar was there first, taking the blast of magic. The Alcorn cried in pain as she fell to the ground. Black mist started seeping from her. But she was out of the way as Raindrops surged forward. Grelgar's eyes widened in surprise as the Pegasus crabs hooked first into his face, then shot past. Grelgar stumbled but didn't fall, surrounding himself in a complete shield to prevent further attack as he steadied himself again. Teeth grit and glaring at Raindrops as he surged away. Glanced at one more black magic, but Trixie grabbed Raindrops in her telekinesis and pulled her out of the way toward her. Corona hoisted herself to her hooves, black miasma still surrounding her, looking like she was in a considerable amount of pain. Trixie looked at Raindrops as the Pegasus landed next to her, though her wings stayed flare. She had managed to land a blow on Grelgar, but didn't look hurt at all. After Trixie's dispelling of his black tendril spell, he kept twisting the precise kind of spell that was so enough to protect himself, preventing Trixie from analyzing it too closely. Leia had managed to struggle to a standing position. Whatever spell that paralyzed her right side was gradually wearing off, but if Grelgar focused on her, Trixie wasn't sure what they could do to help her. Sheer numbers alone had been keeping them alive, and Grelgar showed no signs of slowing or tiring. If they fought much longer, he would slaughter them. Grelgar eyed each of them for a moment, then grunted, looking towards the element of magic. He didn't seem surprised, or really was Trixie. They saw Tearly slinking towards it, though the earth-pointing teacher froze in place, eyes widening. When Grelgar saw her, still a dozen feet from the element, the ram snored, horns glowing white. "Hold it!" Carrot Top exclaimed. Trixie's eyes widened, looking for the source of the explanation, and finding Carrot Top quickly enough standing on the edge of the magic circle containing T-Rex. Surely it probably helped her sneak into place before going after the element. She was, in fact, standing right next to the magic circle, and one ready to bring it down onto the circle. His eyes widened considerably. So did Coronis. "What are you doing?" the Alcorn demanded as she struggled through the pain of whatever spell Grelgar had placed on her. "If you break that, T-Rex will be free," Carrot Top stuttered, glancing at the demon who was eyeing her himself. Carrot Top jumped a little and frightened at the sight of the demon staring back at her, but steeled herself. "But Luna's right outside, isn't she?" she asked T-Rex. "The shield Grelgar made. It can't last forever, can it? Luna will be here." Seeing her eyes glared at T-Rex, probably trying to intimidate him. It worked. The demon flinched. Carrot Top seemed more than a little emboldened at the sight, standing up straighter. "So if I break this, you'll just leave, right?" "Yes," T-Rex said without hesitation. "I will return to the Tartarus. I so have it." "You can't trust him!" Crawl exclaimed desperately. "He's called a liar for a reason." Grelgar's eyes narrowed as he glared at Carrot Top. "She's right," he hissed. "He may return to Tartarus, but he will not hesitate to first slaughter all of us." Carrot Top withered under Grelgar's gaze, but didn't move. "Maybe he will," she said, "but it's not much different from what you're trying to do. Save this way. You don't get what you want either, do you? So you got two choices. Either surrender, Grogar, or I break the circle. And she paused a moment at that, looking between T-Rex and Grogar, then back to Raindrops, nodding towards Corona. The Pegasus considered the alicorn, barely standing, surrounded by Ebon miasma, and physically and magically exhausted. Grimace, considering hard for several long seconds at length, and nodded. Then she glanced at her other friends then, even as he constantly loosened a faint blue ball over Corona's head, to draw their attention and looked at T-Rex. He nodded in turn. Dizzy quickly putting distance between herself and Sakura as he did. Trixie stepped forward once he said, "Seal yourself. You too, Corona," she said. Corona's eyes widened when he's flaring his shot. "What?" she demanded. "Treachery!" "Yeah," Trixie confirmed. "This little alliance of ours wasn't going to last any longer than it had to. Well," she looked back to Carrot Top, then Corona. "We don't need it anymore." T-Rex chuckled from within the magic circle, grinning wildly. Corona, meanwhile, sputtered helplessly. "You fools!" the Alcorn cried out, stomping a hoof till the accidentally fell her over. "If you break that circle, T-Rex will kill you without a second thought." "And how's that different from what you do once we dealt with Grogar?" Raindrops demanded. "Can you honestly tell us you were planning on doing anything different?" "But you threatened my daughter!" Dizzy spat, jumping a hoof of Corona. "What did you expect us to do when this was all over? Just roll over and let you immolate us?" Corona's side looked between the ponies with wide eyes. Turning in place, wings flared. By now, the black miasma and Gulder was gone, mane and tail united in rage. You cannot do this!" she exclaimed, turning and glaring at Trixie. "I helped you." She looked at Raindrops. "I am taking blows for you." She looked over to Carrot Top. "I saved you. I am your queen. You will obey me." For a few moments there was only silence. T-Rex chuckled again. Within moments the chuckle had transformed to full laughter. Even all but doubling over within a calling circle as he stared at Corona. "What?" Corona demanded, stomping a hoof as he stared at the demon. "Why do you laugh?" T-Rex chuckle died down, but his smile remained as he bowed before Celestia. He didn't get on his knees to do so. After another moment said, "Oh, glory to the tyrant's son." Corona rocked back and forth on her hooves as though struck, legs beat a few times in shock, so she lacked the strength to take to the air. Her mouth opened and closed a few times. No intelligible sound came out. On seeing this, T-Rex laughed again, throwing his head back best he could with chains around his horns. Trixie eyed Corona, but the Alcorn seemed frozen in shock, unsure how to act or what to do in the face of T-Rex, one of her most ancient foes, praising her for reminding him of himself. Trixie focused back on Grogar, who himself remained focused on Carrot Top and Cheerilee. The ram noticed Trixie's scrutiny, however, growled low at her. Trixie masked his glare, somehow. "You want to live?" she asked. "That's your thing, right? You want to survive for as long as possible. That's not going to happen if T-Rex gets free, is it?" Grogar eyed T-Rex, still laughing at Corona's misery. But he looked past the demon's mirth, seeing to focus once more on T-Rex's emancipated limbs, his suit poster, his weakness. Glanced back at Trixie. "I do not think the demon is a threat to anyone anymore," he hissed. "He doesn't have to be," Lyra said. She seemed to mostly recover from T-Rex's rigor spell. "It took you hours to summon T-Rex, right? How quickly can he go back to Tartarus, especially if you have to deal with us at the same time?" Lyra smiled. "He doesn't have to fight you. Just has to run away. Then you're left with nothing. Save an alicorn outside, he'll be very angry if you hurt or kill us." "Face it, Grogar," Cheerilee said, speaking up for the first time since the stalemate began. She stood up straighter, eyed the element of magic and Grogar both, and trotted towards it. Eyes locked on Grogar the entire time. Very quickly, however, she reached it, picked it up with one hoof. Grogar doing nothing to stop her, still keeping his eyes locked on Carrot Top. "Face it," Cheerilee repeated. "You've lost." The throne room doors were thrown open. Without thought, out of instinct, ponies, Sakura, T-Rex, and even Grogar turned to stare at them. Saw standing in the doorway, a donkey wearing a turban with a blue gem. Brain. Flanking him were a dozen golems. though each one paused as he looked at the throne room, taking stock of the situation. "Ma!" Corona reacted first. Surprising every opponent as he let out a stream of fury. Charged towards Shirley, making Tia once more igniting. The Earth opponent let out a yelp of fright. Dropping the element of magic, she cantered away from the tired sun's charge. She realized her mistake almost immediately and tried to dive for the element. Kroger acted next, making no explanation but throwing his front hose forward. Carrot Top. A tidal wave of black magic launched towards the Earth Pony as her eyes widened in shock. Only Lyra, desperately reaching out telekinetically and pulling Carrot Top away, saved her from whatever spell Grogar had unleashed. Sakura had almost acted at the same time, charging as fast as he could down the throne room and towards her queen, swinging past Grogar without a glance. She and Raindrops both tried to stop her, but the zebra was too fast on her hooves. Grogar's head ripped towards Trixie. She caused her to lance of black magic and sent her away. She avoided it and fired off a series of fireworks, but Grogar caught them without effort in his magic and dispelled them. Corona had reached the falling element of magic, skating to a halt mere inches from T-Rex calling circle. The demon himself, at Corona's charge, stopped laughing and let out a shout of terror, trying to back away from the charging Alicorn. Worried that the Alicorn intended to slay him, she didn't, however, instead grasping the element of magic in her telekinesis. She looked up at Trixie, looking pure rage and hate, for a golden glow enveloped her and Sakura into two vanished, taking the element with them, though it seemed to linger for a moment. Trixie's eyes widened, and she looked back at Grogar, who was spreading his hose wide, running another spell. Trixie did the first thing she'd think of. She reached out with telekinesis, grabbed as many torches as she could, threw them at the calling circle before shouting to her friends one word: "Run!" Grogar's eyes widened. He aborted whatever necromancy he was about to attempt. Instead, reaching out with his own telekinesis to stop the torches from breaking the circle, charging forward as he did. By the time he had caught all of them, turned back, however, the ponies had all disappeared, turned invisible by Trixie, running past Bray and bowling over Gollums in their small stampede. Bray himself was also thrown to the ground. Grogar watched as Bray and the Gollums brought with them picked themselves up. Bray was groaning and sputtering as he did, while Gollums dashed down the hall, looking for any sign of the fleeing ponies. He might spotted some sight of them as he took off, leaving Bray, Grogar, and T-Rex alone in the throne room. Grogar growled low as he glared at Bray. "You idiot!" he hissed. "Celestial and Luna's lackeys have escaped due to your uselessness!" Bray's mouth opened and flew forth his knees and hocks. "Forgive me, master. I'll go get them and bring them back." "Don't bother," Grogar intoned, turning back around to face T-Rex, moving slowly up to the calling circle. "You'll only fail me again." Bray bristled, but Grogar didn't care as he reached the edge of the circle, looking at the once proud, once mighty T-Rex. The demon straightened, glaring down at the ram, at least until Grogar took a break, placed the hoof at the circle's edge, and pushed it forward, smudging the paint that had been drawn in. The magic of the circle dissipated instantly. T-Rex roared, but not in triumph, but rather fear. Beneath him, the stone floor of the throne room disappeared, becoming a jet-black portal to Tartarus. The demon began to seek. His retreat, however, was arrested by a white telekinetic glow, wrapping around the chains that bound the demon, pulling. "No!" T-Rex shouted, pointing a finger at Grogar and unleashing a lance of dark making. Magic, however, splashed harmlessly against the shield Grogar created. T-Rex reached with his other arm into the portal, drawing forth from it a pulsating black, trying to open it. But Grogar twisted his head, sending forth a magical burst, his own, that struck T-Rex's arm. The demon cried out in pain, dropping the bag and whatever it contained back to Tartarus. Slowly, inch by inch, T-Rex finding every step of the way, Grogar pulled T-Rex from the portal to Tartarus he had created. He created a lance of black magic and jabbed it forward to one of the demon's arms, digging in slowly. T-Rex howled in pain. Grogar advanced further. He telekinetically pulled T-Rex's face down to level his own. He's created a second necromantic lance, slowly pushed it down to the demon's back. "I cannot kill you, T-Rex." Grogar hissed as he created another lance, a little this one with T-Rex's eye. "But I can make you suffer as long as I have to, until Luna gets here if I must." T-Rex shivered in pain, eyes locked on the lance that aimed at his eye. His teeth. "If I had the full breadth of my power!" "But you don't," Grogar hissed. "Give me my soul." Tira looked at Grogar, glaring at him for several seconds, before glancing back up. Outside, Luna, Grogar didn't doubt. He reached out one fist, placing it over his chest and pulling away and opening the fist. Hovering over it was a white orb, which was almost immediately directed forward to Grogar. Even as this happened, T-Rex seemed to glow a little worse for wear. His graying hair, somewhat, his eyes sinking to his skull once more, muscles atrophying further. But Grogar, meanwhile, the change was less profound. All that changed were his eyes, which gradually faded from blood red and featureless to turning into the normal green eyes of a ram. Grogar snorted, dispelling the lenses that had been driven to T-Rex. He glared down contemptuously at the demon. "You have fallen so far, Lord T-Rex," he growled, "that you have become nothing more than a wretched, pathetic coward." T-Rex looked at Grogar, then passed him a bray. "The cowards survive," he said, looking back to the demon ram. "One day I will be free, Grogar, and on that day you will do nothing." Grogar interrupted. So I've been immortal. Now go and rot in your prison, demon." T-Rex stared a moment, smiled as he let the portal to Tartarus drag him back down. "Hubris," he warned as he disappeared. The portal disappeared with him, falling in on itself, black ooze seeping down its rain, gone in moments. Grogar took a deep breath, then let it out, turning to face Bray, eyeing him. The donkey, for his part, backed away several steps in fear. Grogar growled, turning. "Follow," he ordered. "There's only one final step before my apotheosis." Celestia and Sakura reappeared in front of the forest clearing. Sakura turned her face her queen, found the Alcorn falling over. The flames from her mane and tail gone out. The element magic tumbling from her telekinetic grasp. "Your Majesty!" Sakura exclaimed, dancing forward, throwing herself beneath the Alcorn, catching her before she could fall away to the ground, lowering her as gently as possible. When she got out from underneath her, she found that the Alcorn was staring straight ahead with eyes wide, and glowing slightly. Not with fire or heat, but from an internal source. She almost didn't feel real to the touch. Mane and tail both seemed to be pulled in a wind that wasn't there. Pulled east, to the right of the rising sun. Sakura's eyes darted over to Celestia, unsure of what to do. After a moment, Celestia's eyes came into focus, looking at Sakura. "Element," she breathed, one hoof feeling along the grass. Sakura instantly grasped the element magic and pressed it to Celestia's hooves. The unicorn held on too tightly, still for dear life. And as the pull of her mane and tail seemed to increase, the glory of her body seemed like it was trying to follow it. The zebra realized she knew what was happening. The teleport had taken almost everything out of her queen. Had she been a mortal porn, it would have killed her, even of her mortality to protect her. However, Celestia was being pulled back towards the sun. Her sun, the power and glory which Celestia could use to rest and recuperate. Of course, that would lock Celestia away for some time. Weeks, certainly. Months, possibly. Years? Not out of the question. "No, your Majesty!" Sakura exclaimed, reaching out a hoof in supplications. "You have a part to play in what is yet to be. You retreat to the heart of the sun. Then when the storm arrives, there's nothing that can be done." Celestia didn't seem to hear Sakura. Instead, closing her eyes and holding the element even tighter. He applauded me, she breathed. "T-Rex." "Surely you invest no belief in the becoming nigher deep," Sakura asked desperately. "They betrayed me. Could see no difference." "What's the matter with the ponies, your Majesty? Their lack of faith in you is a travesty," Sakura stepped forward. "You are the true queen of the day, and I remain loyal. Come with me." Celestia opened her eyes while she looked down at the element, gritting her teeth and groaning. She forced herself to her hooves, setting up for Sakura as she did. Legs trembled like a new foal's. Her wings sagged and her head drooped. She managed to remain standing as she glared down the element of magic. "It has been corrupted," she said. The bearers have been, but not as I thought." Celestia winced, closing her eyes and taking a few moments to breathe before continuing. "They are not evil. They are not blackened by dark magic." She looked upwards, raising her head. She had been keys in the island, and her sister beyond. "Nor has my sister been." A raised wing stopped her attempt, however. Celestia looked to Sakura, but looking past her as well as he continued. I have been going about this all wrong, she said. They are misguided, like foals, raised by parents who know better than themselves. The glowing pull of Celestia was stronger than ever. She seemed less real by the moment, almost transparent. Sakura opened her mouth to warn her queen of the danger. But Celestia seemed to realize this. He looked down at the element, eyes narrowing. The throne is mine, Celestia said, placing an unsteady hoof on the element of magic. Mine by right, mine by responsibility. I am the rightful queen, and I shall prove it! Celestia's horn glowed weakly as he wrapped the element in her mouth aura. I am the eldest alicorn, she said. I am the rightful queen. I am Celestia. I am the sun! Sakura what? Celestia poured what seemed had to be scant traces of magic yet remaining into her spell, pressing down onto the element of magic, somehow opening it. The element glowed lavender as a beam of light shot straight up into the sky. The lavender beam was flecked with gold, increasing in amounts, till only, after a few moments, the golden glow was all that remained. Sakura retreated backwards, several steps as heat began to rise for Celestia. The alicorn bit her wings wide as she stepped, or stumbled really, into the light as it began to curl around her form. Grass beneath her blackened to a crisp, the air taking on an acrid smell of smoke. Celestia made no sound, however, not even as the light grew too bright to look at. The heat strong enough that Sakura had to retreat several paces, and more began. All at once the heat and light disappeared, sending over the element of magic of Celestia. Weakness there disappeared. Many tail ignited and bright orbs of red flames once more. Her gales she wore shining with new light. The bruises and cuts that adored her body disappeared. Sakura stared before dropping to her knees in Hawk's prostrate queen. Celestia herself inclined her head to Sakura. I did not seek thee out immediately, Sakura, she said, slipping back into older equestrian in a moment's gravity. I thought only of Krogar's demise. This was a mistake. Thou art my loyalest of servants. I shall not make that mistake again. Never did my faith waver, Sakura responded truthfully. All I seek is your favor. Thou shalt have it, now and forever. Celestia turned away, back to her sister in the sky. Sakura had little doubt that Luna was staring down as well. No doubt fear his sister's restored power. I've been acting in the wrong way, Sakura. If the throne is to be returned to me, I see that now. I was blinded by my own pride. She looked back to the zebra, seeping back into my equestrian. I should not have been gathering allies for a war. My retaking the throne must be accomplished in one fell swoop. I must overwhelm my sister and canter her alone. I must take back the throne, not in a brute crusade, but with as little damage as possible. She turned back to Sakura, stepping up to the zebra, nicely keeping the flames on her body cool enough so she did not burn the smaller being. The ponies don't know any better. The bearers of the elements don't know any better. They are not at fault, not to blame. I should never have threatened their kith and kin. They'll get me no closer to my goal. Sakura considered. What must be then, O Queen of the glorious sun? Celestia considered a moment before looking through the forest, across the island, to the city of Tambleon. First, before anything else, she said, taking the element of magic into her telekinetic grasp, Grograt's threat must be ended. Step closer, Sakura, and follow. Zebra did as her queen commanded, couldn't help but smile. As you command, your majesty. So shall it always be.